Welcome, it's Denome, and welcome to this crypto update. Now, today I have some historic news for you guys because Bitcoin is moved out of exchanges in record levels that we basically have not seen in a long time and on levels that we definitely don't see at market tops. So I'm calling for a massive bullish breakout for Bitcoin and also for altcoins basically within the next week. So that is a significant claim. And in this video, I will give you all of the evidence, but let me first show you the on-chain data because that is the most important piece of change that we saw. So going over to sentiment.net, what we are currently looking at is the total amount of Bitcoin supply on exchange reserves. And as you can see, on June 1st, roughly 7% of the whole Bitcoin supply was on exchange balances. But in a matter of couple of days, that number dropped to 6%. And that is a massive, massive, massive drop. And when I saw this, I started to think to myself, there has to be some error. This data has to be wrong, and I will have to contact the sentiment team, which I have not done yet. But I did the second best thing, which is I went to another source, which is Crypto Quant. And long and behold, the number is most likely wrong on sentiment, but it is still bullish. So here we're looking at the exchange supply ratio, and based on how CryptoQuant measures the exchange supply, the number actually was roughly 12% on June 1st. And now on June 3rd, that has dropped by roughly 2%. So it's not nearly as big of a drop as we are seeing on sentiment, but still within the last month, that is still a major drop. A 2% drop in a matter of 2 days is massive. So what actually happened here? I went ahead and searched the internet for answers. Why was this this amount of Bitcoin being taken out of exchange balances? And what I found was that Tether has actually transferred 37,000 Bitcoin valued nearly $4 billion to Jack Mallers' firm 21 Capital. And I mentioned this company and Jack Mallers in a previous update not too long ago, I think like a week and a half ago or something like that. So it's a lending platform where you can lock in your Bitcoin, get a yield on top of your Bitcoin, or you can use Bitcoin as collateral to basically get a loan from the company. It's basically a similar service what Celsius did, and some other companies like BlockFi and Voyager and some other ones. Basically, all of them have failed. And what was funny last week is that Jack Mallers came on X, made a video saying that we do not rehypothecate Bitcoin. So this will not be like Celsius. This will not be like any of the other lending platforms that basically went belly up when suddenly they were not able to uh, send the creditors their crypto capital because they had made a lot of different schemes trying to get yield on top of their crypto assets, that they were unable to unwind their positions, and that caused the bankruptcy of these companies. Now we have the terms and conditions for this new company, and what is funny here is that on the letter K on their terms and terms and conditions, they say that you have to agree and acknowledge that lender may, at its sole discretion and without notice, rehypothecate, pledge, assign, or otherwise transfer all or any part of the Bitcoin collateral to any third party for any purpose during the term of this agreement. So basically, if you use Jack Mallers' lending platform, you're giving away your right to access your Bitcoin. And that is very bad from my perspective. And it is funny that Tether again is funding this venture because Tether actually gave Celsius $10 billion to do the same exact thing. And now they're doing it again with another company. So from my perspective, Jack Mallers is a liar and you should not trust that company. Now, I will give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe he will do it better than the other people before him, but because he was lying about not rehypothecating, now they have to rehypothecate in the terms and conditions. I just find it that you cannot trust this company. So in the short term, this 37,000 Bitcoin, it is not sell pressure, even though it was registered as leaving exchanges because it was withdrawn from Bitfinex balances. It actually is most likely used as collateral and to do these yield farming things. Who knows what they're going to do with their Bitcoin. But all in all, that is most likely not sell pressure. So in the short term, that is good news. But in the long term, when this thing goes belly up, then we will have another Celsius network moment in our hands, and the market will most likely tank. But all in all, in the short term, this is still bullish news. And this is causing all of the signals to basically fly up. Then when we look at the other things, then I will show you the fundamental analysis and the technical analysis at the end. But we have a lot of companies basically adopting Bitcoin strategic reserve. So North American construction engineering company SolarBank has now adopted a strategic Bitcoin reserve as well. And then Congressman Brandon Gill has purchased up to 850,000 Bitcoin so far this year. And this is good news because these people, they craft the bills, they vote on the bills, and most likely he wants to pump his Bitcoin bags. So he will basically tell everybody to vote for the Bitcoin bills and for government to spend their money to buy Bitcoin to pump his bags as well. So this is good news for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Then South Korea has elected a pro-Bitcoin president who promised to legalize spot Bitcoin ETFs, basically giving us future demand for Bitcoin and to scrap unfair regulation, which are both bullish things. A Hong Kong-based company has announced that they will buy $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin for their reserves based on their SEC filing. And again, this is future demand. Very good news. Then a Norwegian block exchange has become the first publicly traded Bitcoin treasury company in Norway. So again, another company adopting the same exact strategy. Then MicroStrategy or Strategy has bought $75 million worth of Bitcoin within the last week, as well as Japanese public company Metaplanet has bought $117 million worth of Bitcoin in their reserves as well. So all of these news are pretty bullish, but they simply continue. So Poland has elected a pro-Bitcoin president, saying that Poland should be the birthplace of innovation rather than regulation. So these are good news as well for us. And then SharpLink Gaming Company is set to raise $1 billion to acquire Ethereum in its Ethereum strategic reserve also. So a lot of news, bullish news, basically across the board, but the price is yet to move. So let me talk about that soon. But before we go there, let me show you this idea that I saw from Mlog. And I thought it was a good idea, and I like it. It is showing a Wyckoff accumulation pattern. And this is the crypto total market cap, what we are looking at. And based on this chart pattern, if this were to play out, then we could expect a breakout about 9th or 10th of June. So I would save this chart, not in a matter that we will, it is a guarantee that we go sideways for the next 4 or 5 days, but if we go sideways for the next 4 or 5 days, then it is actually quite likely that we actually head upwards as well. So I think this is a good idea, and I definitely will mark this on my calendar to check the Bitcoin price if this pattern actually will play out. So 9th or 10th of June, we could see a breakout, so keep this in mind. And then when we look at the fundamentals in the short term, what I really like here is when I go over and take a look at the aggregated spot order book depth. This shows the difference between limit buy orders and limit sell orders within 3% price move from the current price point. And what we saw here is that once Bitcoin hit this all-time high, we saw a lot of sell pressure on the more limit sell orders than limit buy orders on the order books of exchanges. And now that we had this drop to $103,000, what we saw is a lot of buy pressure or limit buy orders basically entering the order books. This shows that there's a lot of demand for Bitcoin at these lower prices, basically giving us a potential floor where Bitcoin might have a bounce. But even more bullish than this is something that I'm going to show you next, which is when we hop over and take a look at the futures order book depth. What we're seeing here is actually a lot of sell pressure. So the futures markets are happy to short Bitcoin at this current small pump to the upside. And this is what I like to see, because when you basically have conflicting data from uh, uh, futures market and the spot market, usually the futures market, they are weaker because they have stop losses and they are in a risk of getting liquidated. So they are most likely going to close their positions faster. And if they are positioned short and they have to close their position either through a stop loss or a liquidation event, both those cases means that they actually have to make a market buy order to close their position. And that can shoot the Bitcoin price even higher from there. So I like to see this, even though it's also good if basically both are green. But this is basically the second best option to see. So all in all, we are seeing quite a lot of buy pressure from these price levels, but that it doesn't mean that Bitcoin will immediately pump, because we do basically have this danger zone below us as well. So looking at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we have a lot of people also not shorting Bitcoin, but they're also longing Bitcoin, and a lot of liquidation levels basically are in this hotspot from $99,000 to $101,000. So if we go and tag this, that could be a local bottom, and then we have this second hot zone as well for liquidations, and this is basically a golden zone. If Bitcoin were to drop to this price level, I think 89k or 90k, that would be, if Bitcoin goes here, then I will be placing quite a hefty long positions there. But it's not looking likely that we go there, but if we do, that will be very, very nice. And then obviously we have a lot of liquidations basically above the current all-time high, stretching all the way to $111,000. So this is the other liquidation hot pocket as well. Now, when we take a look at all of these things and then go to the charts here, there's something interesting here on the charts to look at, because we do have a bullish divergence, a repeat of what we saw earlier. So let me show you. So what is important here is when we look at the RSI, when Bitcoin went to this parabolic move to the upside, before that, we saw higher lows on the RSI consecutively. And from there, Bitcoin finally had that breakout and we had that parabolic move to the upside. But preceding that, we saw something very interesting on the RSI, which is the RSI low, but the price higher low. We look at the we have these on the RSI here, and also we have a higher low. So they're basically repeating once again. So in my opinion, it looks like Bitcoin wants to go for a parabolic move to the upside, and the top for that price, in my opinion, would follow this price line here, like I showed you in the previous update. So about $130,000 or $135,000, roughly somewhere here would be the next price point for Bitcoin to move to. That's what I would expect. So what I kind of currently expect is, I don't know if Bitcoin has a bounce here or we go to $100,000, $99,000, the first liquidation zone here. Then we go upwards, or even if we go to 90k, and from there we go upwards. But all in all, what I currently expect is something like we go to 130, a little bit above that, and then we might actually go back to $111,000 or something like that, and then we simply continue because there's just so much buying and hype around Bitcoin that I do believe the mania will continue from there, and then to $150,000. This is my current base case. This is what I'm looking for. Now the markets may trade differently, obviously, and there's obviously always a lot of risk involved when you trade these markets. But if you want to have a good, reliable exchange, then make sure to use my affiliate link to join for femex.com, where you can get $4,800 in welcome rewards. There's extremely low fees if you trade the futures market, and you don't have to do the KYC to actually deposit capital, withdraw capital, trade, or anything else. So it is a very neat for that as well. Now, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, you can join my group. It's completely free. Subscribe to the channel and also like the video to send this good message to the algorithm that you want other people to see this video as well. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one, and bye bye.